You've got to be kidding me. Commanders fans, the season is officially a wrap and folks are already talking about the 2026 draft. But hold up, because what the experts just projected is exactly what we all knew we needed from the jump. And while that's happening, we've got updates on the return of our stars from Monday night against the Chiefs. But there's a big issue nobody's talking about. And to top it off, Adam Peters is working the phones, checking out the trade market. But let me ask you this. Do you really think one trade is going to save this season? Stick around, because I'm breaking down why this upcoming week could define the entire future of this franchise. Let's keep it real, Commanders fans. This season is going down the drain, and you know what that means. It's time to look ahead to the 2026 draft. And let me tell you something. The latest mock draft from A to Z Sports has the Commanders taking exactly what we've been screaming for since back in March. With the 12th overall pick. They've got Adam Peters finally fixing the biggest mistake of this past offseason, not landing an elite pass rusher. And the name is Kendrick Faulk, defensive end out of Auburn. 6'6", 285 pounds of straight-up muscle and athleticism. This dude has everything we need on that defensive line. But here's what's driving me crazy. Why are we just now talking about this? I told y'all back in March, I warned y'all when we signed those bargain bin pass rushers that this was going to happen. Dorrance Armstrong is out for the season. Dante Fowler Jr. has been invisible, and Clelin Ferrell was never the answer. And you know what? I'll say it, Adam Peters bet wrong, and now we're paying for it. Faulk isn't just big and strong, this kid's got elite hands, insane length, and a motor that just doesn't quit. The numbers don't lie. He's generating constant pressure, and even though he's not turning all of it into sacks yet, the tools are there. And here's the wild part when he gets drafted. Faulk will only be 20 years old. 20. We're talking about a high-ceiling project who can grow in our system. Now, let me ask you this, ain't it ironic we're talking about drafting a pass rusher when we could have just signed one in free agency? While the Cowboys went all in on Micah Parsons years ago, while the Eagles built that dominant D-line, we were out here shopping in the clearance aisle. And where did that get us? A defense that can't generate pressure, can't stop the run, and makes average quarterbacks look like all pros. But let me be clear, Faulk is the kind of player who can flip an entire defense. His versatility is off the charts. He can line up on the edge or slide inside on passing downs. With that 6'6" frame, he's got the length to keep offensive tackles honest, and his strength at the point of attack is next level. This dude can set the edge against the run and then turn into a speed rusher on third down. And here's the context you need. This 2026 draft class is stacked with edge talent. We're talking 5 or 6 edge rushers going in the first round. But Faulk is separating himself from the pack with his unique combo of size, athleticism, and production. Scouts are drooling over his upside, and I totally get it. Now let's talk about our draft situation. We've got a first-round pick, a third, a fifth, 2 sixths, and a 7th. You know what's missing? Second and fourth rounders, because we gave those up in the Laramie Tunsil trade. And while Tunsil's been solid, he hasn't been the game changer we needed. So Peters has to hit on that first-round pick. There's no room for error. And you know what's the most frustrating part? We could have avoided this entire situation. We could have gone after Danielle Hunter in free agency, pushed harder for Josh Sweat when he was available, or made a move before last year's draft. But nope, we thought we could find value in the bargain bin. I think Faulk would be a phenomenal pick for us. Picture this. Faulk on one side, Armstrong back from injury on the other in 2026. And suddenly we've got a pass rush that can hang with anyone in the NFC East. Add Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne in the middle. And baby, that D-line starts looking dangerous. But here's my concern. Are we even going to be in position to draft Faulk? With the schedule we've got, we could easily win a couple games we shouldn't and fall to pick 18 or 20. And by then, Faulk's probably off the board. So part of me is thinking, should we tank the rest of the season to lock in a top 10 pick? I know that sounds crazy. I know no player wants to lose on purpose. But let me ask you this. Would you rather win 5 or 6 games this year and end up picking 20th? Or take our medicine now, get a top 10 pick, and draft a real game changer who can help us for the next decade? And don't forget the salary cap angle. Armstrong's under contract, but he's going to want an extension if he comes back strong. If we draft Faulk, we've got a 4-year rookie deal with a 5th-year option. That gives us massive flexibility to build the rest of the roster while having 2 quality edge rushers on manageable contracts. Travis, made from A to Z Sports, said it best. Faulk is the total package. He's not turning all his pressures into sacks yet, but the rate stats are there. And I'll tell you this, I'd rather have a guy who's consistently generating pressure, but not finishing plays than a guy who disappears for entire quarters. You can teach finishing. You can't teach motor and effort. Now, what if Faulk's off the board when we pick? This draft's got options. We could look at other edge rushers like Miko Williams from Georgia or N.I. Scorton from Texas A&M, or we could go a totally different route and take an offensive tackle to protect Jaden Daniels long term. But I'll say this, with how our defense has played this year, we have to prioritize that side of the ball. Remember when the Eagles drafted Brandon Graham? Or when the Giants took Jason Pierre-Paul? Those picks completely changed those defenses. And I believe Faulk has that same potential for us. This kid could be the cornerstone of our defense for the next 10 years if we develop him right. But here's the million-dollar question. Can Dan Quinn and his staff develop Faulk the right way? Because we've seen talent wasted in this organization before. Chase Young was supposed to be a generational talent, and we let him walk for basically nothing. Montez Sweat was just starting to break out, and we traded him for picks that haven't turned into anything yet. So yeah, I'm hyped about the possibility of drafting Kendrick Faulk, but I'm also nervous because this organization has a history of not maximizing the talent it has. And that brings me to what's happening right now with this team. If that surprised you, wait till you hear this, because we finally got some good news in the middle of this train wreck of a season. Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel Jr. are back, baby. Both were full participants in practice on Thursday and Friday, and they're on track to play Monday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. And let me tell you, we need this badly. But you know what? Here comes the giant problem nobody's talking about. Jaden Daniels is not playing. Marcus Mariota is going to be our starting quarterback against the Chiefs defense that's playing its best football of the season. And I gotta ask, what's the point of having Terry and Deebo back if we don't have the quarterback who can actually use them? Look, I respect Marcus Mariota. The guy's a pro, a vet who knows the league. But let's be real, he's not Jaden Daniels. Against the Cowboys, Mariota went 4 for 10 for 63 yards and a pick. 63 yards. With all due respect, those are preseason numbers, not starting QB numbers in the NFL. Now, I get the caution with Daniels. The kid's got a hamstring injury, and the last thing we want is to rush him back and lose him for even longer. Dan Quinn already said they're hoping to have him back for Week 9 against the Seahawks. But here's my issue. We're basically punting this week against a Chiefs team that's 4-3 and has won 4 of their last 5. And you know what's really frustrating? This is exactly the kind of game that could save our season. Monday Night Football, primetime, the whole country watching. A win over the Chiefs would put us at 4-4 with 9 games left. We'd be back in the playoff hunt. But instead, we're basically waving the white flag before kickoff. But let's go back to the good news for a second. Terry McLaurin's been out since Week 3, and y'all know how much we've missed him. Scary Terry is our number 1 wideout, our veteran leader, the guy who makes this offense go. Without him, we've been totally one-dimensional in the passing game. And Deebo Samuel Jr., since we got him in that trade, has shown flashes of why Adam Peters went after him. The kid's got speed, he can stretch the field, and he adds another layer to our receiving cores. With Terry, Deebo, Luke McCaffrey, and Zach Ertz all healthy, we've got the weapons. The problem is, we don't have the quarterback to use them. Now, let me ask you this. Isn't it ironic that we finally get all our receivers healthy right when our quarterback goes down? It's like the universe is messing with us. And trust me, I know it sounds like excuses, but these are just facts. Mariota is 1-1 as a starter this year. He beat the Raiders, his old team, and lost to the Falcons, another former team. So yeah, he's shown he can win games in this league. But the Chiefs ain't the Raiders. The Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, they've got Travis Kelce, and their defense is playing on a whole different level than they were earlier this season. And here's the context you need: the Chiefs are alive. After starting 0-3, everyone thought their dynasty was done. But Andy Reid made adjustments. The defense found its identity, and now they're right back in the AFC playoff picture. This is the worst possible time to face them without our starting quarterback. But I'll say this, if we're going to have any shot in this game, we need Terry and Debo to be at their absolute best. Mariota needs easy reads, safety valves, receivers who can win one-on-ones and make plays after the catch. And that's exactly what Terry and Debo bring to the table. Zach Ertz has been phenomenal this year with 4 touchdowns. Luke McCaffrey's been a pleasant surprise with 3 scores. But we need production from our receivers, and getting Terry back is huge for that. The guy's one of the cleanest route runners in the league, has the best hands on the team, and knows how to find soft spots in coverage. Now, let's talk game plan. With Mariota under center, we've got to simplify things. Quick passes, screens, play action to keep the Chiefs' defense honest. We can't ask Mariota to do what Daniels does, slinging it all over the field and making plays with his legs. That's not his game, but you know what? Mariota's got experience against the Chiefs. He's faced them multiple times in his career, knows their schemes, knows their tendencies. And while his record against them isn't great, at least he won't be rattled by the moment. My biggest concern is the offensive line. Laramie Tunsil's been solid, but the rest of the line has been up and down. And the Chiefs, even if they don't have the same pass rush as years past, still have guys who can win one-on-one matchups. If we can't protect Mariota, it won't matter who our receivers are. And here's another harsh truth. Even if we win this game, what does it really mean? We'd be 4-4, but then we've got a tough stretch of games after the bye. Our schedule doesn't get any easier. So yeah, a win Monday will be great for morale. But it doesn't change the fact that this season is in serious trouble. But I believe in Terry McLaurin. I believe in Debo Samuel Jr. And I believe that if these guys are healthy and locked in, they can give Mariota the tools to compete. Are we gonna win? Honestly, I doubt it. But at least we'll fight, and that's all we can ask for at this point. And you know what else I'm thinking? Dan Quinn is using this week to let Daniels fully focus on rehab. That tells me they're thinking long-term. They don't want to risk our franchise quarterback for one game, even if it's in prime time. And I respect that, even if it hurts to admit. So, Commanders fans, let's get behind Mariota on Monday. Let's make some noise, let's believe, and let's see what happens. Because in this league, any given Monday, anything can happen. But we also have to be real about where we are as a team and what we need to do to get back to being competitive. And just when you thought we were done, let's talk about the trade deadline buzz that's been heating up. Eric D. Williams from Fox Sports is reporting that teams around the league are looking for edge rushers and wide receivers ahead of the November 5th deadline. And according to his sources, the Commanders are one of the teams that might be making calls. But here comes the big but. Sitting at 3-4 with Jaden Daniels hurt, we're probably not making any major moves. And I'll say this, thank God. Because the last thing we need is to throw more draft picks at a ship that's already sinking. Look, I get the logic. We're desperate for an edge rusher with Dorrance Armstrong out for the year. And yeah, we played last weekend without our top 3 receivers. But guess what? Terry and Debo are back. Noah Brown should be returning soon. So the receiver issue is basically solving itself. Now, let me ask you this. Does it make sense for Adam Peters to throw more assets at this season? Because I'm telling you, nitrogen monoxide This season is done, folks. I'm sorry if that sounds defeatist, but it's the truth. We're 3-4. Our quarterback is injured. Our defense is a mess. And we've got one of the toughest schedules in the league coming up, Doc. So why in the world would we trade a second or third round pick for a rental edge rusher who's only going to be here for 8 games? It makes zero sense, especially when we're already short on draft capital after the Tunsil trade. We need to be stockpiling picks, not throwing them away. But here's what's got me really intrigued. Williams mentions that the Steelers, Commanders, and Bills make the most sense as potential buyers. The Steelers are 5-2 and fighting for their division. The Bills are always in the mix. But us? We're way closer to being sellers than buyers. And that brings up an uncomfortable conversation nobody wants to have. Should we be selling at the deadline? Because we've got some assets that could bring back value. Darren Payne is in the final year of his deal. Brandon Coleman's been solid. Noah Igbenogany has value as corner depth. Should we be flipping those guys for draft picks? I know that sounds like giving up. I know it goes against everything we want as fans. But let me ask you this. Would you rather Peters make a desperate move that mortgage our future, or be smart and think long term? Now, if there's a deal that Peters just can't pass up, okay, I get it. If Max Crosby suddenly becomes available for a third rounder, of course you make that trade. But those kinds of deals don't happen in real life. Good edge rushers cost a lot, and teams aren't just handing them out. And here's the other issue. Even if we land an edge rusher, does that really fix our defense? Because our problems go way deeper than one position. We can't stop the run. Our linebackers are lost in coverage. Our safeties are constantly out of position. One edge rusher isn't fixing all that. Williams says the Commanders might not be inclined to make a move, given our record and Daniel's injury. And I say that's exactly right. Finally, some common sense in this conversation. We shouldn't be buying, period. But I think there's another conversation we should be having. What do we do with players in the final year of their contracts? Because if we're not planning to extend them, shouldn't we be trying to get something before they walk in free agency? Payne is the obvious example. The guy has been a warrior for us, but he's going to want a massive deal in the offseason. Are we ready to pay him? Or should we be exploring trades to get a second or third round pick for him? It's a tough call, but it's one Peters needs to be thinking about. And here's what really worries me, that Peters feels pressure to do something because fans are frustrated. Because that's exactly the mindset that leads to bad trades. Look at what happened with the Tunsil deal. We gave up a second and a fourth for a left tackle who's been good, not great. Was that price really worth it? Now, if we're talking small trades moves around the edges, then fine. Trading a 6th or 7th round pick for some edge depth, that makes sense. But anything bigger than that, and we're playing with fire. Williams specifically mentions edge rushers and receivers as the most in-demand positions. And I get it, those are the most impactful spots in today's game. But they're also the most expensive on the trade market. Teams know there's demand, so they're asking for premium prices. And you know what else? Even if we land someone, how long does it take for them to learn our system? We're halfway through the season, no training camp, no preseason. A new player is going to need weeks to get fully up to speed. And by then, the season might already be over. So my message to Adam Peters is simple: resist the temptation. I know it's tough. I know fans are yelling for moves. But the smart play here is to stay calm, keep our picks, and focus on the 2026 draft. Because that's where we're going to build this team for the long haul. But you know what's got me a little nervous? That Peters feels like he has to justify all the offseason hype. We were all excited. We all thought this team could compete. And when things don't go as planned, the temptation is to make a desperate move to try and save the season. But those moves almost never work. Look at the Rams when they traded for Jalen Ramsey. Look at the Broncos when they went all in on Russell Wilson. Those big trades at the deadline or in the offseason rarely work out the way you hope. And we're not in a position to be gambling with our future. So yeah, the rumors are going to keep flying. You're going to hear names, you're going to see reports that the Commanders are exploring options. But I'm telling you, don't get too excited. Because the reality is, we're probably not doing anything major. And that's the right call. The right call. So there you have it, Commanders fans. 3 stories that paint a clear picture of where we are as a franchise. We're looking ahead to the 2026 draft to fix the mistakes from last offseason. We've got our receivers back, but not our quarterback for Monday night. And we're probably not making any moves at the trade deadline because, let's be honest, this season is already lost. But let me ask you this, and I want y'all to be real in the comments. Would you rather PETERS make a desperate move trying to save this season? Or would you rather he stay patient and build for the long term? Should we be buying or selling at the deadline? And do you honestly believe Mariota gives us a shot against the Chiefs on Monday? Because I'll tell you this next week is going to say a lot about the future of this franchise. A win against the Chiefs, and maybe, just maybe, we've got something to fight for. A loss, and it's officially time to turn the page to 2026. Are you ready to draft Kendrick Faulk? Do you think Terry and Debo can make a difference without Daniels? Do you want PETERS to make a trade or stand pat? Let me know everything in the comments below. And if you agree that we need to focus on the draft and not on desperate trades, hit that like button and look. I know this season hasn't gone the way we hoped. I know it hurts to watch this team struggle after all the off-season hype. But this is our family, this is our squad, and we're going to ride with them no matter what. So if you're not subscribed yet, do it now, because we're covering every move, every game, every decision this organization makes. I'll see y'all in the next video with more analysis, more updates, and more truth that nobody else is going to tell you. And remember, hail to the Redskins.